Today we're going to talk about how to put on our fender stripes or decals. I've laid out some popular tools that we use to apply most of our decals. In this case we have a 1 inch, or to be exact 7/8 of an inch of our Scotch 3M tape to mark the spacing between the decals. Our trusty squeegee, which will remove the majority of the application fluid from underneath the decal itself, and then our microfiber towel to absorb that application fluid as well as smooth out the decal. Let's not forget about our application fluid. I can't say this enough. A tool which literally you cannot do without whenever you deal with any kind of vinyl installation. The formula or recipe for it is very simple. It's 4 very heavy drops to 32 ounces of water, and that's 4 heavy drops of the dishwashing liquid, such as Dawn for instance, and you would apply this to the actual surface the decal goes on, as well as the sticky back of the decal itself. Here we're at a point where we've already applied one of the decals, and we're going to actually talk about the actual placement of the fender stripe to make things come out exactly as we planned them to. On the 99 to 04 fenders, there's actually a lip right over the crease that the decal needs to sit flush against. It has been angled perfectly to make sure that the intention of direction of the fender stripe is absolutely perfect. So make sure that you seat that edge against the edge over here on the fender of the 99 to 04 cars. Also, as a reference point, and you'll see this in the instructions as well, you have an actual bolt as well as a hole right near the fuse box on these cars, and the intent is that the decal sits right in the middle of those two. So those are some excellent reference points to make your life and installation a lot easier. In this case, we're kind of doing things backwards here just for this illustration video. We already have the decal closest to the driver in place, and we're going to show you how to put the decal closest to the front of the car, which probably should be the first one installed in place at this point. As you can tell, like I mentioned, this decal is already down. The application fluid, or the majority of it, has already been removed. There's some minor remaining bits in there, and then we've placed that Scotch spacer, the Scotch 3M spacer. It's about 7/8 in width, perfectly against the other stripe, so we can kind of use that as a guidance point while placing it between, again, those 2 reference points, as well as in the proper orientation on the hood itself. As you can tell on the actual sheet that was shipped to you, as you can tell, again, one of the decals has already been removed because it's on the car, but there is a significant difference between the top and the bottom, as the top is angled to perfectly sit against that crease on the fender right over the side of the lip, and the bottom is perfectly measured to wrap underneath the wheel well, but not excessively, to make sure it stays in place properly. So please make sure that you pay attention to the actual indicator that says top, and then of course the left decal would be towards the front of the car, as the right decal that would normally sit over here would be closest to the driver. Okay, the first steps that we're actually going to take at this point is the application fluid. As with any decal application, you cannot use too much of this stuff. The formula, again, is real simple. It is 4 heavy drops of a dishwashing liquid to 32 ounces of water. I've applied it to the actual surface that the decal is going to go onto, as well as the adhesive side of the decal itself. At this point, I'm going to simply lay it on the fender, line it up with the Scotch tape, then look at the actual back side of it to make sure it's even and level with that bottom crease on the fender I mentioned earlier. And once I'm happy with both the orientation, direction on the Scotch tape, as well as making sure that it sits flush, using my thumb, I'm just going to use, or my finger is going to just simply remove majority of that application fluid to get that decal to start sticking in place. Once you've got that to that point, using a squeegee obviously makes your life a little easier, getting the majority of the application fluid out from underneath the decal. And when you get to a point where majority of it's out, you can simply remove it. Be careful around the decal as it can still move, and just simply wipe it, work it around the edges until it's absolutely perfect, and there you go. Enjoy your new decals. I want to add this last part for brothers and sisters that are not real familiar with vinyl. Vinyl is a very stretchable material, and you take advantage of that. You'll notice on the bottom lip of the fender right here how the vinyl is giving some pushback in laying perfectly flat. It's for multiple reasons which ironically work for and against us. We've used an excessive amount of application fluid, which of course gives us the ability to arrange the decal as we want it. However, it's also keeping the vinyl from sticking in place immediately. The good part about it is simply with a little back and forth massaging, and just so you know, sometimes on this crease you'll notice pockets develop there. Simply using your thumb, using a microfiber towel to dab off that excess application fluid, eventually you're going to find that the vinyl lays flat and does not come back up. And when you finalize it, where you tuck it under as such, it will provide an absolutely flawless application. But like I said, vinyl is one of those substances or materials that has some flex in it. Take advantage of it, work it in. It takes a little bit of time, but once you get it just right, you'll have that car that is set apart because of these stripes from all the other ones around town. Enjoy the product. Thank you.